It's time for a talk about the facts of life. Did you know that some of your property tax money may never get to the town hall?
Did someone steal it? Where does it go?
Well, after every revaluation, thousands of taxpayers pay less, and the rest of us have to pay for the loss of that revenue.
That doesn't sound fair to me. Why do we have revaluation?
Because if we don't revalue, people who bought property pay taxes on old assessments that were most often much lower than the purchase price, so their taxes are too low.
And how does the revaluation fix that?
Revaluation assures that buyers pay fair taxes on the property they bought.
What does the revaluation do to the rest of us who aren't new buyers?
You must pay taxes as if you too bought your homes at the market price, even if you couldn't afford it. If a new buyer thinks his taxes are too high, he can change his mind. Existing owners don't have that freedom of choice.
But doesn't the limit on tax levy increases help everyone?
When there is no revaluation, yes. The limit in the tax levy limits your taxes too, but a revaluation changes that. With revaluation, the housing market decides what your tax will be. It has nothing to do with the tax levy, and there is no limit to your tax increase.
What do you mean? That's hard to believe.
Look at North Kingstown back in 2004. There was a 3.8% tax increase. But only 2/3 of the property owners got higher tax bills, and their average increase was 27%. And they paid $2.4 million more than without the revaluation.
So they paid the entire tax increase, plus to send an extra $2.4 million to the property owners whose taxes decreased.
Yes, it means exactly that.
So revaluation just moved a lot of money from some people to other people.
That's right. And what's worse, the people who paid the extra money most often live in less expensive homes than the people who received lower taxes. And the same thing happens even if towns don't raise taxes. Revaluations are unfair to existing owners no matter what happens to the budget, no matter which town you look at, the results are essentially the same.
That sounds just wrong, even crazy. I can't believe it.
Maybe people didn't know, but this happens with every revaluation.
But now we know. What can we do about it?
We need the revaluation to assure that buyers pay fair taxes.
We need to keep the good part and discard the bad.
Yes, instead of a property tax, look at an owner's charge. Charge is based on your prior bill plus the tax levy, not property values. New owners have no prior bill, so their charges are determined by the revaluation. Here's North Kingstown in 2007. The tax levy increase was 5.3%. Here are the prior tax bills. To provide a new owner, Joe sells his house to Andy. Andy now doesn't have a prior bill, so he needs a fair tax on his market value. We'll need the town's total market value, not each property, just the total. This gives a fair tax rate for anyone taxed on market values, that is, all new owners. Andy's tax bill would be $9,900, with an owner charge or with the old property tax. It makes no difference to new owners.
Do you use this tax rate for everyone else's tax bills?
No, everyone else pays an increase over their prior tax bills to pay for the rest of the tax levy. So Fred and Dave would both pay about 5.1% more, and the tax levy is paid in full. Next year, the current year becomes the prior tax. And notice that Andy now has a prior tax too. If the levy goes up, say 4%, everyone would pay approximately 4% more. This system is revenue neutral because it raises the same amount of money as the current system. All property owners pay fair taxes every year. The limit on the levy will now help every property owner too. And there'll be no need for assessment appeals. Rhode Island might not have the lowest taxes, but it can have the best and the fairest property taxes in the country. That's a very good thing.